Hi. Hello. It's big test season again here in Tokyo, so I shouldn't record a video right now. I should be writing kanji over and over again until I don't know who I am anymore. I'm also a bit sick, which you might be able to tell. It's a bit congested, yes. No one mentioned any alcoholic drink starting with C. Otherwise, my mother would shit herself, and no one wants that, do they? She's a very perverted person, yes. But instead of studying, I have decided to make 2 videos about my recent 3-day trip to Kyoto. Yay! Thank God poor decision making prevailed. So far, Japan for me has been Tokyo and nothing else, you know. So I was very excited to go. Once again, I went with the aforementioned girlfriend / bunny. And as you'll see, it was a lovely trip, yes. So strap in, dislocate that jaw, and munch away on your mother, because here we go, day 1 of Kyoto. Fucking camera. Like any good travel vlog, this one begins with getting to the place in question. Now, for us, the method of travel was the Shinkansen. It's long, technologically advanced, expensive, alluring, very smooth, and quintessentially Japanese. Everything exactly like my pee. We rode this marvelous phallus from Tokyo all the way to Kyoto, 370,000 kilometers in about 14 minutes. It really is extremely quick. It's like you don't even know what happens and then you're done. Soon we were out of the concrete jungle and into the concrete countryside. Japan is very hilly and extremely beautiful. And now we're in Kyoto, yay! I really need to get better at filming like transitional shots of us getting off the train and stuff, but I mean, no one came here for the quality of these videos. But yep, just here we are. My first impressions of Kyoto was that of a very touristy place. We hadn't even reached the first shrine yet before we were surrounded by shopgoers and souvenir boutiques. Interesting that there seemed to be just as many tourists from elsewhere around Japan as there were foreigners. It's also very obvious from the start that Kyoto is a much smaller place than Tokyo. To be fair, pretty much everywhere you go is a lot smaller than Tokyo, but it felt a lot smaller because everywhere you looked, you could always see the mountains and hillsides surrounding the city, making it feel like you were always on the outskirts, kind of. Speaking of the first shrine, we went to the Fox Shrine, yes, or Fushimi Inari Taisha. Fushimi Inari Taisha. You've probably heard of it. It's where you find these famous rows of torii gates. To be fair, going there was a bit different from the pictures, since they rarely depict the sea of other tourists, but it was still absolutely lovely to visit. This first shrine experience in Kyoto was a very good one. Some claim that the fox kami, or god, represents rice and agriculture and also good luck in business endeavors, leading to thousands of Japanese businesses donating a torii gate to this very impressive winding path you see in so many postcards to bring good fortune. But what most people don't know is that the foxes at the shrine are actually in celebration of Foxy Lady, the 1967 hit song by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's impressive to see what immense cultural impact American rock music has had on traditional Japanese culture, especially considering this shrine was built during the 15th century, about 400 years before the song first came out. After this foyer into American culture, is that how you use foyer? I don't know. The sun was quickly setting and we hurried to check in at our lodging for the first night. We headed onto a bus taking us deep into the aforementioned mountains together with other unsuspecting tourists. Luckily, the bus driver did not kidnap and kill us all. Instead, the ride was lovely and it took us to a somewhat secluded Japanese inn, or Ryokan. I'll show more of the outside in the next video, but this is what our room on the inside looked like. Traditional tatami mats, sliding paper doors, decoration, and obviously a television with all the cable channels you can ask for that authentic old school touch, you know. We also got to wear yukata, simple traditional garments worn by travelers who would stay in these types of inns back in the day during Jimi Hendrix heyday, you know. It was really comfy and really nice to slip into after having been on the move all day, you know. Speaking of being on the road, imagining being a sort of weary traveler in feudal Japan, having been on the road all day and finally reaching an inn along the way. The 2 things you'd probably like the most upon arrival, apart from a television with all the cable channels you can ask for, of course, would probably be a dinner followed by a bath. Yes, you can probably see where this is going. Now, fuck me, onegai shimasu, because goodness, ryokans, at least this one we stayed at, perfect these 2. On the surface, very simple activities, you know. Who knew that just shoving some tofu in your face would be almost arousing. You know, I didn't know that. But there I was, not just drooling at tofu, but at everything we were served. I'd been warned about this beforehand, that you get a lot of food if you stay at Ryokan, but they gave us enough food to feed a small village for about a week, you know. And it was all vegetarian, so this is what a vegetarian take on washoku, or Japanese food, looks like. I had absolutely no idea what I was eating, except for the rice and the tofu. Those were kind of obvious. But a lot of the pickled stuff and the like vegetables I didn't recognize at all. But I was smiling all the time. It was almost tragic how lovely this meal was. 8 courses of absolute fucking perfection, visually, culinarily, erotically. Everything looked incredible, smelled lovely, and we ordered in some sake to round the whole thing off as well. I wouldn't say that I liked absolutely everything, but I will say that I liked absolutely everything. After this, we felt like walruses, and it was time for the much anticipated onsen experience. Finally, this thing that I had been looking forward to doing for about 10 years, ever since I started reading slightly ecchi manga, Ichigo 100% for the fucking win, was happening. Again, I didn't think I would like this as much as I did. I'm not much of a bathing kind of guy. People usually refer to me as, you know, the shower man. Or at least I want them to call me that. But yeah, who knew that not just tofu-induced ecstasy was a thing, but taking a really hot bath up in the Japanese mountains with a really cool view would make me almost weep with gratitude. Naked as well. Terribly naughty. I mean, I prefer to shower fully clothed so as to not upset anyone, you know, and for my showers to not be demonetized. But here they told me to take off my clothes. I don't know. The video quality is utter shit because I didn't bring my camera into the onsen, but as you hopefully can see, this was very cool. I definitely want to do this again, next time with a proper hot spring onsen, which, since this was not technically water from a hot spring, I don't think you could call this a typical onsen, because it needs to be from a hot spring. But now, as I usually say, I mean, if I see something that quacks like a duck and walks like one as well, I will take off my clothes and jump in, you know. Oh yeah, day 2. Okay. Day 2 started with us realizing just how lovely the view from our room was. Just felt serene as fuck, you know. We didn't have much time to fuck about in the room though, since our breakfast was waiting. And yes, the breakfast was just about as ridiculous as the dinner the night before. Shit tons of courses, all of them lovelier than your mother. More of the godly tofu, this time even more wobbly. Loads of interesting pickled things, different kinds of strange vegetables, salads, and obviously as much rice as we wanted. The only annoying thing about wearing a yukata, as I noticed, is that if you don't tie it properly, it has a tendency to sort of slip off. I was dangerously close to flashing my dotted underpants to the Ryokan staff at many occasions, but not that they would complain, you know. The breakfast was rounded off with some coffee. Not sure how traditional that is, but delicious nonetheless. And then it was time to leave. It was called MOMIJIYA, and holy shit, I can recommend it, especially if you're looking for a vegan or vegetarian version of the whole food thing. Before heading back to Kyoto, we decided to check out the surrounding hillsides as well, up in the mountains. Now, I am not much of a nature guy, really. I am more of a, people refer to me as more of a shower man. But I must say, the mountains surrounding Kyoto, if you can't appreciate them, you are a little bit dead inside, I think. After a bit of a trek along a beautiful river, we found an incredible looking temple. It looked to be like 55,000 years old at least, and I believe it must have been a Buddhist temple because of this bonsho, I think it's pronounced, or like a huge bell used to summon the monks and demarcate time, apparently, as opposed to Western style bells, which have like a little thing inside of them which smashes the inside of the bell when you shake it, right? These ones don't ring by shaking them. Instead, you strike them with this beam thingy. These types of bells have become symbols of world peace, but also of erectile dysfunction, which I found pretty interesting. Now, thousands of years worth of fascinating and impressive culture is all lovely and fine, but what struck us the most up in these mountains were the abundance of vending machines, even up here. I had heard about this as well, that even the most sacred of paths in rural Japan will have vending machines, and fully stocked and, you know, operational as well. It's incredible. I don't know how they do it. I mean, fine, the temple was incredible, but did it give us milk tea and this Georgia quality coffee? Exactly. And that, lovely viewer, concludes this lesson. If you want to stay around for part 2 of this little series, here is a short little sneak peek. Yes.
Wow,
den liten dans. It should be up next week, I think, unless I become one with one of these hundreds of kanji that I should study, which right now feels very possible. Anyway, I thank you very much, humbly and decently and thoroughly, for watching. I'm sorry that my energy was a bit low for this video. I am a bit sick. Again, don't mention the coronavirus. I just did shit. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Yeah.